Let me start not with praise but with confession. The Royal Enfield Interceptor is a flawed motorcycle. No one rides it under the illusion that it's perfect. It's slower than other bikes in its class, the stock seat is tolerable for an hour at best, the engine casings, though charming to the eye, are a magnet for corrosion if left untreated. The brakes are adequate but lack bite and feel, the suspension is clattery, somehow too soft and too harsh, the pillion comfort isn't great, the engine runs lean and hot thanks to Euro 5 strangulation, the stock exhaust is barely audible over 40 miles an hour, the foot pegs dig into your shins, the paint is soft and easily scratched, the relays are full of gunk, the reg rectifier is a ticking time bomb, and some of the metal fixings feel like they've been made from soft cheese. So then why? Why do people own and love this obviously flawed motorcycle? This is my bike. Bought new in April 2025, it has since shared 2,000 miles of road with me, some soaked and some sunlit. I've remedied many of its quirks, as most owners do, and the first real point that I want to make is that yes, although this bike has some weak areas, they are quite easily and quite inexpensively addressed. I bought this motorcycle brand new for £5,000. I've since spent about another grand on modifications. £6,000 all in for what I can confidently call a great motorcycle. But I'll talk about all that in another video. For now, what is it about this bike? A word that gets thrown around a lot is character, but what does that mean? The Interceptor is an analogue motorcycle in a digital world. When bikes come with dashboards that wouldn't be out of place on a spaceship and rider modes for every possible road condition, the Enfield says, no, here are your dials. There are two of them, round and real. One needle for speed, one for revs. Here is your throttle, not fly-by-wire but cable. I have no traction control to save you, no rider aids to flatter you, no quick shifter or launch control, just the vaguest of nods to modernity in the form of fuel injection, ABS, and a questionable fuel gauge. It starts on the button, and when it does, there's no screen that lights up like a fruit machine, no digital handshake, just a swipe of the needles, the rumble of the engine, and a softly spoken, right then. I don't strap my phone to these handlebars. There's no music playing, no sat-nav in my helmet. I take the opportunity for a break from technology. I get lost. Gloriously, purposefully lost. Because this bike isn't about getting you there fast. It's not about tech or efficiency or logic. It just wants you to be there. It just wants to include you in the experience. And there's something quietly rebellious about that. As we collectively sprint towards digitization, optimization, AI, EVs, subscription models for your heated grips, the Interceptor sits like a brick in the road, smoking a pipe and muttering something about how things were better in the 60s. A stubborn, handsome ode to simpler days, to meandering back roads, Sunday mornings without a destination. And if you live in the UK or Ireland, it's perfect. We don't have deserts and interstates. We have country roads and hills and hairpins, roads that wind and narrow, shadowed by hedgerows, lumpy, leafy, full of potholes. With our narrow lanes and mossy walls, our hidden valleys and sheep-laced hillsides, the Interceptor fits. Not just in size, but in spirit. And it looks the part too, not like it's dressed up for the past, but as if it simply never left. There's a dignity in its lines, a quiet confidence in its small stature, not retro, but timeless. Just right. Just itself. Honest. Tanks should look like this. Headlights should be round. Chrome should glint, not glare. It feels honest, earnest, and humble. And it draws people in. I'm often asked, how old is it? To which the answer is always unexpected. Car drivers roll down windows. People talk to you at petrol stations, at cafes, at red lights. I think people like it because it carries the manners of something older, slower, more considerate. All the grace of old age, but without the gout. And the sound. The stock bike has a pleasant note, but it's when you cast off the oversized stock exhaust for something shorter, throatier, something closer to how this engine really wants to sing. A baritone rumble, a warm, rolling thunder. Not noise, voice. There's an element of cosplay to all motorcycling, so people say. Cruisers in black denim chasing the Sons of Anarchy dream, sports bike riders in full race suits like they're lining up on the grid, adventure riders in dusty tan riding in the shadow of you and Charlie. Maybe the Enfield is cosplay in the past, distinguished gentlemen and all that. But if you look past the superficial, past the posture, you'll find the real beating heart of what motorcycles are about. Not how they make you look, but how they make you feel. And that's where the Enfield lives. It doesn't help you pretend, it helps you remember. A shared memory of a not so distant past when riders felt like riders, not like users or customers or, God forbid, content creators, but you, a person moving through the landscape with a willing friend humming softly beneath you. Yes, the power is modest comparatively to other bikes of this size, but for our roads, it's bang on the money. And it's still a 650cc, it's still quick, still faster than almost all cars on the road, here in the Emerald Isles at least. It's no slouch, and there's plenty of poke. But more importantly than the amount of power is how it delivers it. Low, wide, confident. The low end swell, the mid-range roll, and when you want, the top end surge too. And that's the difference. It doesn't egg you on hoping that you'll find trouble like other bikes I've owned. It just wants you to have fun. It's not a machine that you wrestle, it's a partner. Don't mistake the modest numbers on the spec sheet for a meek personality either. The Interceptor is as happy loping along like a laid-back cruiser as it is being flicked through corners like a featherweight. Those thin tires play their part. Though skinny at first glance, they lend the bike a sprightly, flickable feel. The turn-in is surprisingly quick, and although the bike isn't particularly lightweight, at least not on the spec sheet, once the wheels start turning, it can dance through corners like a much lighter machine. And the stock rubber, though cheap and cheerful, is more than capable in dry weather for all but the raciest riders. It's a willing accomplice, ready to be guided by your mood, content to bimble through the countryside or hustle along an open road. It doesn't dictate your ride, it doesn't push or protest. It's happy to join wherever you lead. Now you could argue a similar sentiment for any bike. It'll only go as fast as you tell it to, yada yada yada. But bikes do have a temperament. They find their natural rhythm in different styles of riding. You can ride a sports bike through a grass field if you want, but it doesn't want you to. You can ride a cruiser at redline, scraping pegs on every corner, but it doesn't want you to. The Interceptor's not like that. It's happy to do what you ask of it, and it'll do it with charm, with grace, and yes, with character. There are limits, of course, but within them, it's pretty damn open-minded. And it's not just this versatility. It's not just the nostalgia. It's not just the price. It's not just the looks or the sound or the fuel economy or how simple it is to work on. It's the way it all comes together. The whole. As a package, I don't think there's many other bikes, if any, that are quite as compelling. It's not the fastest bike. It's not the best handling or the most advanced or the most of anything. But what it is captivating and deeply satisfying. And long after you've parked it up and the exhaust is clinking and pinging as it cools, you'll think about it. You'll think about your next ride out. It's not flawless, but it's true and it's honest. And it reminds you that there's a part of motorcycling and perhaps a part of life that has nothing to do with progress and everything to do with presence. And isn't that why we ride? To be present? To be there? To be here?